different from being vegan?
How is it different? Because
Yeah.
vegans are better than vegetarians.
Where do vegans get their protein?
Well, everything has protein in it. Protein actually comes from plants. The animals get their protein from plants. So if you're eating beef for protein, you're getting secondhand protein that the cow got from the grass or the grain or whatever it was fed. The vegan food that it was fed provided the protein that you're getting in the first place. Me, I get my protein firsthand from plants. If you want high protein foods, you can go with like beans. So any kind of legume, you got like lentils, peas, pinto beans, black beans, any kind of bean. Nuts and seeds have lots of protein in them. Greens actually have a surprising amount. In fact, broccoli is about 30% protein, speaking calorically. So everything has protein in it. Even a banana has a gram of protein in it. I get plenty.
Why did you become a vegan?
Because I was fat and I was really sick and I was really depressed and I just wanted to look better and feel better, more or less. That's why I went plant-based in the first place.
What's the difference between vegan, vegetarian, and a plant-based diet?
So vegetarian diets can mean a lot of things, because there's vegetarians who actually eat chicken, and I don't know how that works, but there's still claimed to be vegetarian, and then or some that eat fish, some that eat eggs. Vegetarians still eat animal products, whereas vegans or somebody who is plant-based does not eat anything that comes from an animal. Some plant-based people may eat honey from time to time. A vegan typically wouldn't eat any kind of honey. They just use a honey alternative like agave. The difference between plant-based and vegan isn't necessarily in the diet, it's in the lifestyle. The diet should pretty much be the same aside from something like honey, where somebody who's plant-based might do like honey or whatever. But it's in the lifestyle, so it'd be like the clothes that you wear, the makeup that you use, or the shampoos that you use, or whatever. You have to have all vegan products that way, versus somebody who just eats a plant-based diet. They're not necessarily vegan, they just eat a plant-based diet.
Do you ever miss meat?
No, I don't miss meat at all. I don't crave it whatsoever. It's not really something that I think about. Even when I first went vegan, that went away pretty quickly after the first, I'd say 3-4 weeks or whatever. You just don't even think about it anymore, and you start to want the food that you're actually eating now. So like there was a long stretch where I was just eating potatoes every day, and that's just all I wanted was potatoes. And yeah, that's what you just start craving, the good foods that you're eating versus the nasty stuff that you used to eat.
Why aren't all vegans skinny?
Why aren't all vegans skinny? Well, because there's a lot of things that are vegan nowadays that aren't necessarily good for you. Oreos, for instance, are technically vegan, but that doesn't mean they're good for you. So you can eat, tortilla chips and Oreos and Coca-Cola and all the other junk food in the world, and especially with all these new plant-based ice creams that are coming out, and whipped creams that are coming out, and cream cheeses that are coming out, and all this other stuff that's coming out. It's certainly easy to be heavier as a vegan, but also it's lifestyle too. I think some people, like myself, who run more, are obviously going to look skinnier, I should say. You could still be skinny as a vegan and not necessarily be toned. You can just be like kind of like just a skinny vegan that doesn't necessarily have any muscle. You're just kind of like floppy or whatever.
Isn't it super expensive and time consuming?
No, it's not super expensive at all. Rice and beans is not expensive. Vegan food is not expensive whatsoever. It's only expensive if you're eating vegan junk food every meal, like you're eating, the vegan hot dogs and veggie burgers, and you're eating Tofurkeys, once a week, and all these vegan convenience foods or junk foods. If you're eating stuff like that all the time, then yes, it is going to be super expensive. But if you're eating whole foods, things you get in bulk, things you get out of the produce section, keep in those two aisles, produce section, bulk. All right, that should be where the majority of your stuff comes from, and then you can get some other stuff in the other aisles. But you want to stay away from the aisles with boxes and jars and all that stuff, because that's where the more processed food is, and that's where the more expensive food is. So no, it's not expensive. Time consuming, It depends on your definition of that. I mean, it is, if you're somebody who's spending more money on food to save time, well, you have to work to make that money. So you have to make, let's say, 2 hours worth of wages to pay for the extra amount of food that you buy for convenience that's faster. So you have to work 2 hours. But if I spend less on the food that I get in bulk, I could probably cook it in less than that 2 hours that I have to take, that it takes me to buy or make more money to buy it. So at the end of the day, it actually saves time to cook it yourself when you think about it that way.